Boeing calls the 787 the Dreamliner, and it paid a visit to San Diego on a promotional trip last week.
Also, you'll notice that we have no window shades on this airplane.
Boeing spokesman Larry Seto says the 787 uses 20% less fuel than other airplanes of equal size due to a bonding technology that doesn't require rivets through the skin of the fuselage.
So what that does for you is it first saves in weight, it saves you in fatigue life, it saves you in corrosion, and it saves you in aerodynamic efficiencies because those rivets will protrude out of the outer skin of the airplane.
The greater fuel efficiency of the 787 creates new opportunities for San Diegans to fly to Asia, either nonstop or with only one connection instead of two, and that's great. But the need for the Dreamliner also draws attention to the limitations of Lindbergh Field and its short, less than 9,000-foot runway.
The problem with Lindbergh Field is not just the runway. The problem with Lindbergh Field is that it sits in the bottom of a bowl or a cup, and no matter if you're taking off east or west, you have the terrain that begins to rise.
And clearing that terrain off a short runway means you can't carry much fuel because that weighs down the plane. And if you can't carry much fuel, there's a limit to how far you can fly. The other well-known problem with Lindbergh Field is it has only one runway, severely limiting the number of flights that can take off and land. Joe Craver, a former Air Force colonel, was chair of the San Diego County Airport Authority when it asked voters in 2006 if it should seek to move San Diego's airport to Miramar Air Station in cooperation with the Marines.
If the military would have given up Miramar and given it to the city, and the voters would have approved them putting an international airport in there, that would be able to allow an airport to be an expansion of Miramar to bring in 4 runways that would be over 10,000 feet long, that would take San Diego into the next century.
But what would San Diego do with 4 runways? Some of the assumptions about the growth of air travel we made 6 years ago have changed. Not long ago, it seemed like air travel was becoming just another middle-class entitlement. Everybody flew. If you had a week off, you might as well go visit your brother Bob in Fort Lauderdale. But about 4 years ago, something happened, a recession.
Attention not illegal.
Since 2008, the passenger count at Lindbergh Field has dropped by well over 1 million people. It seems like a strong contradiction to the claims made in 2006 that Lindbergh would max out in 20 years. And as if the recession weren't enough, a little more recently, something else happened that you probably noticed at the gas pump. Fuel prices went up dramatically. Steve Van Beek is an airport consultant based in Washington, D.C. He says fuel is an airline's greatest expense. He adds that while high fuel prices combined with a slow economy may be bad news for airlines, in a way, it's good news for Lindbergh Field.
So planes are fuller, and not as many planes as we projected are flying, which actually extends the life of an airport like Lindbergh, probably 10, 15, maybe even more years than that.
Among the passengers who use Lindbergh, views are mixed, but tell the truth, a lot of people really like it.
I fly to hundreds of airports in the country, and Lindbergh's one of my favorites, close to the city. Small airport, in and out, easy.
But visit Lindbergh's commuter terminal and you'll hear from passengers who are frustrated with the lack of direct flights. Karsten Schmidt is ready to jump on a small plane to L.A. because there are no direct flights to Frankfurt, Germany.
For me personally, it's important to get to Germany, and connections from Los Angeles or San Francisco do exist, but not from San Diego. So it would be a great idea if we had the ability to promote this a little bit. And I know a lot of my colleagues who have business connections with Germany and Europe would really like that.
But for now, he has to transfer at LAX.
I take the paddle jumper, and my flight leaves at 3:15, I think, I hope.
San Diegans can already fly direct to London aboard a 777, and the ability of people to fly direct to Frankfurt or Paris doesn't really rely on airport infrastructure or airplane technology. Van Beek says it depends on the airlines having enough business. He refers back to the coming flights to Tokyo.
The key for the business travelers in this area will be supporting the new 787 flight. So business travelers need to fly nonstop, they need to buy in the business and premium section of the cabin, and they need to make it a profitable flight.
Today, planes like the Dreamliner are putting Lindbergh in a position to improve its international service. As for the limitations of a single runway, well, we're stuck with it. Even if the Marines left Miramar Air Station next week, there's no telling San Diegans would actually want that to become a home to a 4-runway airport.